Only you went wrong with your PS3. I'll just keep playing my 360.
Only one way to move like us. Play the game. TMNT, the video game. Rated everyone 10 and up.
What do you mean by that?
As somebody who grew up with both the 2003 and 2012 variation of the Turtles, I think I'm pretty qualified to talk about this movie. TMNT 2007 has such a weird place in Turtles history. Even when this movie was coming out, people were confused as to what it was connected to, as it claimed to be both a spiritual successor to the 1990s films, whilst sharing and borrowing several elements from the 2003 show. Heck, even the game to correspond with the movie had the voices from the '03 show. Although on the topic of voice actors, this movie does have a star-studded cast. Sarah Michelle Gellar, Chris Evans, Patrick Stewart, and Lawrence Fishburne, just to name a few. It's easy for me to understand why this movie didn't succeed with a younger audience. It requires at least some background knowledge on who the Turtles are, their personalities, and their motivations. If this was your first experience with TMNT, I can imagine that Raph and Leo's fight really wouldn't make much sense to you. Also, the story's a bit different, to say the least. TMNT fighting the Shredder? No. Instead, we have Maximilian Winters, who's a billionaire. Also, it turns out he's not even really a bad guy towards the end. So, our real bad guys are the 13 monsters. Ooh, spooky. Thousands of years ago, Max Winters was a warrior king who was granted immortality bet at a cast. Everybody he knew was pretty much turned to stone, and 13 monsters were released. But he was immortal, and so he's been around all this time trying to hunt down the 13 monsters. Now, I have to commend them on not using the Shredder, but instead making up a completely different character, but at the same time, this new character really isn't anything special. TMNT was directed by Kevin Munro and was brought to us by Imaji Entertainment, the same company that made Astro Boy 2009. Anybody remember Astro Boy 2009? 'Cause I don't. All my immature ass could remember is that one scene with the gun butt. Why is that still ingrained in my memory? Also, they were trying to get a Legend of Zelda movie out at the time. Too bad the studio went out of business shortly after this film released. Even though this movie came out all the way back in 2007 and was made on a fraction of the price of the average Pixar movie, this movie still looks great even today. They toe the lines between stylized and realism in such an elegant way. The choreography and overall fight scenes are just incredibly interesting to watch. Some people might not like that the Turtles all look pretty similar, but I genuinely like it because it gives a sort of cohesion. So, the moment of truth. Did I think that this movie was as good as I remembered it? Yeah. I mean, it's a good movie. I rated 7 out of 10. I recommend rewatching it if you haven't seen it in a while and you are a TMNT fan. It hasn't aged badly, and it's only an hour and 27 minutes. So yeah, good movie. Recommend it. And if you haven't already, I recommend subscribing because I will be making more videos soon.